The boardroom was colder than usual. Not the temperature, just the stares. I stood at the head of the long glass table, flanked by executives and directors, every single one of them watching me, like I was a mistake that needed fixing. The door clicked shut behind Anna, and I cleared my throat. "Thank you all for joining me on such short notice," I said, my voice calm but tight. "As you're all aware, Alan Green has pulled out of our energy contract. Berlin shipments are being held in customs, and Michael Lin has liquidated his shares." No one spoke. I hated this kind of silence. Not the quiet kind, the kind that carried judgment and whispers hiding behind professional expressions. I looked around the room. "I know what you're all thinking," I said. "You're wondering if this is happening because of me. If in the reason for this disruption, someone shifted in their seat, someone else sighed." But I kept going. "I didn't ask for this war, but I'm not afraid of it either. I came here today not to beg or apologize but to tell you this company will stand, with or without those who jumped ship." Still, no one said a word. I felt my chest tighten. Then, finally, Mr. Donnelly, our longest-serving board member, leaned forward. His silver hair and calm gaze used to comfort me when I visited Grandpa as a kid. Now, his eyes held something else: doubt. "You're brave, Miss Berkeley," he said, "but bravery doesn't build trust. Strategy does, experience does, and right now, we are bleeding fast." "I'm aware," I said, "which is why I'm calling for a full audit of the past 48 hours. I want to know who leaked the announcement early. I want to know how customs were tipped off, and I want names. If there's a rat in this company, you'll smoke them out." Some heads nodded, but most of them just stared. "I'm also freezing all new external contracts until further notice," added. "We're going to plug every hole before this ship sails again." That finally got a reaction. A few murmurs, a few exchanged looks. "Good." Fear meant they were listening. "Meeting adjourned," I said, grabbing my notes as I walked out. I felt their eyes follow me. I knew they weren't convinced. Not yet. Back in my office, Anna poured me a glass of water while I sank into my chair. "I don't get it," I muttered. "How could everything fall apart on day one? Who would benefit from this kind of chaos?" Anna glanced at me. "Do you really want an honest answer?" I looked up. "Yes." She hesitated, then said softly, "Someone who wants to see you fail. Before you even begin, someone who probably knows your weaknesses and the company's soft spots." I swallowed hard. My mind flashed to Hunter's face, his voice, his calmness, his warning. Was this all just some twisted way to force my hand? There was a knock on the door, then my grandparents barged in immediately. "Faye, are you alright?" my grandmother asked worriedly. I nodded. "Of course, I'm handling things. There's no reason for you to be here. Perhaps you're not ready, princess. Maybe let's take a break. With everything going wrong on your first day, I don't think it's a good idea to continue," my grandfather said. I shook my head. "It'll be damned if I quit on my first day. Trust me guys, go home. I can handle it," I said to them. My grandparents stared at me and sighed. Then they nodded their heads. "We trust you." Immediately they left. I stood up quickly. "Anna, I need cybersecurity in here, now, and send someone to check the mailroom and deliveries personally." She nodded and darted off. I stared out the window. 2 hours later, the head of cybersecurity, Mr. Niles, stood in my office with a tablet in his hands. "We traced the first leak," he said. "The tip about the customs issue came from an email inside the company. Masked IP could have been routed, but it originated from this floor." My chest tightened. "Someone here," he nodded grimly, "was still narrowing it down." I swallowed. "Keep digging, and keep it quiet. No one breathes a word until we know who's playing us." After he left, I walked back to my desk. I opened my drawer and pulled out the small, velvet-lined box ID tucked away. Inside was my parents' old company pen, heavy, gold-plated, engraved with their initials. I held it tight, and then I signed off on a new directive and internal investigation with no mercy. I leaned back in my chair, staring at my phone like it was the most beautiful thing in the world. Another message lit up the screen. "Audit called. Suspicion rising. She's cracking." I grinned. Day one, and Faye was already being tested, and she had no idea someone from her inner circle was feeding me updates in real time. Perfect. A soft knock sounded on my door. "Come in," I said, not looking up. Marcus stepped inside. He paused for a beat, probably confused by the smug look on my face. "You look weirdly pleased," he said. I glanced up at him, still smiling. "I am." He raised an eyebrow. "You do realize what's happening at Berkeley Empire right now, right?" "Oh, I realize," I said, setting my phone down gently. "Everything's going according to plan. You don't seem concerned." "That's because there's nothing to be concerned about," I said, rising from my chair and walking to the window. "Let the company shake a little. I'll push her exactly where I need her." Marcus let out a slow breath. "You're still convinced she'll accept your proposal?" "Not convinced. Certain." He opened his mouth, probably to argue, but just then, the door burst open. "Hunter." I didn't have to turn to know who it was. My grandfather stormed into the office like he owned it, which, in fairness, he kind of did. The man didn't knock. "Ever, what are you doing here?" he barked. "You have a blind date in 30 minutes. I blinked. "What blind date?" "The one I arranged for you. Don't play dumb." I turned to Marcus. "Did you know about this?" Marcus looked trapped. "I didn't tell you because the last time I mentioned a blind date, you threatened to castrate me." Grandfather turned to Marcus with narrowed eyes. So you fear him more than me, Marcus stammered. No, he was very specific about the knife. Enough. I cut in, holding up a hand. Leave him alone, Grandpa. There's no need for the blind date anymore. Grandfather's bushy eyebrows lifted. Oh, I've already found a woman I'm going to marry. That silenced the room. Grandfather blinked. You what? I smiled. Faye Berkeley, the long-lost granddaughter of the Berkeley family. His mouth dropped open, then slowly curled into a grin. Faye Berkeley, the same one running the company now. That's the one. He stared at me like he couldn't believe his luck. She's perfect. I know. Where did you even meet her? I shrugged casually. We met recently. We hit it off. She's strong, smart, beautiful, everything I want, and I plan to marry her. He eyed me for a second. You're not lying to me, are you? Boy, would I lie to you about something like this? Yes, fair. I said with a small laugh, but I'm not. I'll bring her to meet you tomorrow. He clapped his hands. I'm proud of you, son, finally doing something with that head of yours. Then, just as quickly as he arrived, he turned and marched out of the room, muttering something about preparing dinner for royalty. As soon as the door shut, I sighed and ran a hand down my face. Marcus cleared his throat. Hunter, what now? I was trying to tell you earlier about the plan. What about it? It's kind of not working the way we expected. I turned to him sharply. What do you mean? She figured some of it out, called for an audit, pulled internal operations, froze contracts. She's cleaning house. Hunter, I stared at him in disbelief. And you're just telling me this now? I tried, he said quickly, but then your grandfather barged in and hijacked the conversation. With his blind date agenda, I groaned, rubbing my temples. She's not crumbling, I asked. She's shaken, Marcus admitted. But she's not broken. If anything, she's getting stronger, more focused. That was not the update I wanted. I clenched my jaw. I should have known she wouldn't bend that easily. So, do we stop? I shook my head. No, we don't stop. We adjust. I picked up my blazer from the back of my chair. Where are you going? Marcus asked. To see her. Now. Yes, she might be holding it together, but I want to see her face. When I show up, I want to see if she's bluffing. Marcus hesitated. And if she's not, I smiled, then it'll just make her an offer she won't be able to refuse. We left the office together, stepped into the private elevator, and I pressed the button for the parking lot. As the doors closed, Marcus gave me a sideways glance. You really think she'll go for it? I know she will, I said calmly, because if she doesn't, her company might not survive the next hit. Right then, my phone buzzed again. Another message from the mall. She's starting an internal investigation. Quiet, but she's serious. I smirked. Then we'd better get there before she finds the rat.